Hello and welcome to another live match recorded at the Portsmouth WCQ Regional. So on to round 3 and we're going to see SPYRAL taking on Salamangreat. I'm on the left piloting the SPYRAL build, so let me know of any misplays that you capture during this match. Stick them in the comment section and we'll be able to discuss them further, help us all to improve in this game. So, Salamangreat doing what it does. Opening the circle is always pretty nice, and he still has the Gazelle, and then post the Desires is able to set up the Roar it's going to look like. Looks like his board isn't going to be too bad at all from this one. Going first into the Bale Links, adding that Sanctuary, and then potentially using the Roar effect to reset, and then he can use the Sunlight Wolf to get the other one. He has actually opened a Will as well on top of this, that's not bad at all. Sunlight Wolf into Sunlight Wolf, and resetting the Roar and searching the circle. Unfortunately can't add back the Gazelle this time around, so not the best there. There's a Mind Control to bait the Roar so that players can actually go forward. And I believe this is a case where I open a pretty reasonable hand but play things in the incorrect order. So here the idea is go for the full board. May as well try and push through as much as possible, starting off with the normal summon of the quick fix to search the big red. This is probably the point where it's wrong. I should have begun with the Forged Burial to make sure it actually went through before attempting to get anything else out of the deck. So I then go for the Rotor, which does resolve, and as a super agent, but unfortunately the Forged Burial being hit by the Ash is really going to hinder plays because I don't have any discard outlets currently. I did actually open the Master Plan, and when I attempt to resolve the super agent, calling I believe Monster for this, because I think Monster is the most highly represented card in Salamangreat decks, not able to resolve that, unfortunately. So right now the idea is just, I know he has a circle set, and I want to be able to remove some of his resources, so may as well do things using the quick fix and going into Link Reboot and then pressing a little further. Ultimately, he is going to be able to break through whatever board I assemble at this stage, because I just do not have the extenders available in hand because of my turn structuring at the start. So I'm going to go for a Phoenix and attempt to break as much of his board as possible, starting off with the Phoenix targeting the Will, which baits out the Bale Links and then can attack over the Sunlight Wolf. But Will is extremely powerful in this position where both of us are on fairly low resources. I mean, potentially he should have... Oh, okay, so the circle he actually added back to hand and did not set. That's interesting. So he potentially was anticipating that I would consider the other set to be a circle, thus saving whatever the other set is. So it could be like a Roar or a Roar or Rage here that's actually set, or it could be something else, but those are the two most likely targets. And since he has the Will, he can just go straight into the Gazelle, able to send a YuGiOh so that he can actually recycle his plays. Interestingly, he did not go for that the first time around. He prioritized an Interrupt over the additional cards there. And setting the Desire is very, very interesting because that doesn't actually net him any advantage if it gets removed, and it doesn't act as an interrupt. So this is kind of akin to what we saw in the first match with SPYRAL against Thunder Dragons, just setting sort of strange cards in the hope that it distracts the opponent, really. Foxy Gazelle is not too bad at all. This will allow him to go a little bit further and extend into a much stronger board than we're typically used to here. He has the Update Jammer and the Econ, so he can actually make a Link 4 here, make a Zeraboros, which is huge at the moment because Double Desires has resolved, and the Update Jammer is actually going to give it 2 attacks. Now, he doesn't actually declare the Update Jammer, but I know you guys don't want to see, totally incorrect play, so I do actually remind him of that and allow him to get through the OTK here. On to game 2 then, and once again we're going to see Salamangreat starting, obviously with a Go Second SPYRAL build. There's not really any point at which you'd prefer to choose first, given that your opponent is playing a deck with quite a lot of hand traps. And, the SPYRAL build that I'm playing does not include a lot of outs to those apart from the Millennium Eyes Restrict, and even then it's not the best option. So he does once again find access to Circle on turn 1, not bad at all, giving him the Gazelle, the access to the Sanctuary here, and he can potentially set up a Rage or a Roar in order to, defend himself a little bit from possible plays from the opposing side. Rage is probably the ideal choice here, to be honest. I don't think the Roar does an awful lot except against the like random removal spells like the Mind Control, and even then the Mind Control would just bait it out, so not too bad at all. DD Crow comes down to get rid of the Gazelle, which is not bad. He does get to add back the Foxy, which is pretty good because it means he'll have access to additional pluses on the following turns. But just taking out the 1 is pretty good, to be honest. Going for the Lingerivo here too does play around a potential evenly match, which I think is a pretty good choice because it is, you know, fairly common for Ghost Deck and Spiral to main deck evenly. And looking at my hand, it's actually pretty terrible here. So there's an Instant Fusion, Fallen Spirit Goods, 2 DD Crows, I think, and that Twin Twister. So Twisters is able to remove the back row, which is very nice. Gets rid of an evenly and a Rage. So very actually strong here, and the Instant Fusion can get rid of the Sunlight Wolf. But there just aren't any plays here, and I think what you're seeing is an overcommitment into an attempt to actually have something, because I don't want to just lose to an OTK like I did the previous turn. So making the Princess Sprite is really the only option that actually allows me to get any additional cards, but unfortunately it draws me into a Wear Off though, which is now unusable because there are no longer any level 1 monsters on the board. And adding the DD Crow is potentially actually the worst option here, because if I kept the DD Crow and didn't use it for the Princess Sprite, then he wouldn't actually be able to resolve this will. So potentially something that should have been thought about a little bit more. You know, he has cards that do allow revival within his main deck, so why not keep the DD Crow and have a little bit more impact here. Instead we see a YuGiOh come out, which spins back the set Wear Off Thou. The idea being that if I do set something, he will, instead of choosing to do like a Zeraboros OTK, will try and do some YuGiOh spins so that he doesn't lose to 1 or 2 back row. And his decision to do that should prevent an OTK, but unfortunately I don't actually draw into anything. I think I draw into another copy of Wear Off Thou, which is really pretty sad, because it means there are no plays available. Second YuGiOh comes out, gets rid of the other Wear Off Thou, and then he just has tons of damage on board. Once again, we're going to see him go for the Zeraboros, which is on massive stats thanks to Desires, and that is going to close out the game. There are just no resources available for me here. And that's it for round 3. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Feel free to point out any misplays that either of us made, and I'll see you guys in the next video.